What's good, y'all? What's good, y'all? It's part two of this conversation. Part two of this conversation. Are you a white man dealing with black fatigue? This is part two of this conversation. Give me 1 second. Are you white and dealing with black fatigue? That's the question today. Are you white dealing with black fatigue? Gonna let people come in here. Give me 1 second. Let's type this out. Fatigue. Dealing with black fatigue. There we go. Starting the poll now. Are you white dealing with black fatigue? That's the question today. I want to speak to people. I haven't done a show in a while. I did a show this weekend, and we were talking about white people dealing with black fatigue. Essentially, this is a group of people online who are tired of the issues of black people. They're tired of dealing with them. They're tired of living in the same spaces with black people. They're tired of putting up with them. They're tired of putting up with their attitudes, the problematic nature, the criminality. They're tired of black people in general. And this is a community online. And I've had some people in my comments talk about this, dealing with black fatigue. And I wanted to speak about that today. I wanted to talk to white people dealing with black fatigue today. This is a part two discussion of this topic. Are you white dealing with black fatigue? And I would love to talk about my white fatigue because I'm dealing with white fatigue. So I would love to speak about my white fatigue. I would love to speak about my white fatigue because I am a black man in America and I have some white fatigue. I have some white fatigue that I would love to I have some white fatigue that I would love to speak about. So yeah, I want to speak to white people today. Are you white dealing with black fatigue? Again, there is a community of white people online. Let me move my camera to the side a little bit. There is a community of white people online who say that they are tired of black people. They're tired of the criminality, the attitudes, the violence, all of the issues, and they're saying that it all comes by way of black people. Now, I do not agree with this philosophy. I do not agree with this ideology that some white people have commented on. And the only reason I decided to do a part two of this is because people keep commenting on the original video. So I thought I'll do a part two to this conversation. White people dealing with black fatigue. Are you white dealing with black fatigue? I would love to know. Salute to Curtis. He says, Timu James Harden. I look nothing like James Harden. My beard isn't even like out there. James Harden's beard is like literally like here. He's like a black gnome. My beard is not even at that length. I've had my beard at that length before, but not recently. So no, I don't like James Harden. But yeah, I'm here to speak about black fatigue. That's my topic, and I'm staying on my topic. I'm not gonna, because the last video I kind of went off the topic. I'm here to talk about white people dealing with black fatigue. Are you a white person? You could be a woman, you could be a man, and you're tired of black people. You're tired of their attitudes. You're tired of the criminality. Because I'm saying I don't believe in none of this ideals. I'm just saying this is what's being echoed from white people. This is being echoed online that I'm a white man or I'm a white woman and I'm dealing with black fatigue. I'm tired of black people, their issues, their problems, what they bring, the criminality, the attitudes, whatever it may be. Are you white dealing with black fatigue? I'm here to ask that question, and I want to speak to you tonight. Simon says, "Hello, man," and he says, "I have a question for you." Curtis says they skimped out on the beard to cut costs. No, again, my beard can grow very long if I wanted it to, but I choose not to grow it long. If you want to know anything about my beard, I'm here to talk about white people dealing with black fatigue. Does anyone have anything to say about it? This is part two of that discussion. This is part two of my white people dealing with black fatigue. And I would love to speak about my white fatigue. I'm dealing with white fatigue. I'm tired of white people looking at me when I'm in their communities and I'm just, going to point A to point B. I'm tired of walking in the stores and, white people following me, thinking I'm going to steal something. I'm tired of racist police pulling me over and giving me a hard time and hassling me just because I'm black driving a car. I'm dealing with my own white fatigue. I'm tired of white women, giving me the white maternal hand, thinking they're trying to, civilize me in some way. No, I'm quite civilized on my own, white woman. I'm tired of fat white women trying to throw me the vajayjay. I'm not interested. So I'm dealing with my own white fatigue. So I want to speak to you about your black fatigue when it comes to black people, and I would love to speak about my white fatigue. So maybe we can exchange experiences. You talk to me about your black fatigue. I talk to you about my white fatigue because we're all dealing with fatigue. Because I'm dealing with fatigue myself. Um, I'm open to the idea. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Skyman Bro says I'm white and I believe that Christ was black, and I love that fact. Okay, I respect that. I respect that. And he says I believe that Christ was black, and I love that fact. Okay, salute, salute, salute. If you believe that, that's a beautiful thing. Nora says I love black. Okay, okay. If you have love for black people and all of that stuff, that's a great thing. I'm here to speak to because there is a community of white people that have this concept of black fatigue, and I know that it's out there because I've had these people on my videos throughout the week, throughout the course of this week. I've had people in my comment section, and they're voicing their opinions on black fatigue. They're saying they're tired. They're tired of the criminality. They're tired of the issues. They're tired of the arrogance. They're tired of the problematic nature. And I wanted to speak to them because they're voicing their issues on black fatigue. I want to voice my issues on white fatigue because I believe I'm suffering as well. You know, are you suffering from black fatigue? I want to know. See, one person said yes. Whoever said yes, please educate me on black fatigue. As a white man, if you're out there and if you're a white person and you're dealing with black fatigue, I want to be educated. I want to be educated on black fatigue. What are you dealing with in terms of black fatigue? Are you tired of the criminality? Because and I don't agree with none of these ideals and principles, but these are what people say. This is what they say, that they're tired of dealing with the criminality, even though there's criminality in the white community. They're tired of dealing with the problematic nature, even though there's plenty of white people that are problematic. We know that, history shows that. And they're tired of, the violence, the crime. I mean, these are all things that I see in the white community as well. So I mean, I just want to be educated on white fatigue, on black fatigue. Mr. Whisker says, "How are you feeling?" I'm feeling great. I'm feeling quite well. How are you feeling, Mr. Whisker? How are you feeling? The question today is, are you white dealing with black fatigue? This is something that I did a show about this on the weekend, talking about this issue, and a lot of people resonated with it. I had a lot of white people, even after the show was over. When the show was over, the show was posted up on the live. There were people still commenting on the concept. Yes, I'm a white man. I'm dealing with black fatigue. We're tired of this. We're tired of that. We're tired of black people and this and that. So I thought that, hey, let's do a part 2 of this. Let's really talk about this. Let's really break this thing down. I want to speak to those people. He says, I'm good. I think I put no. Yeah, however you feel about the concept, I want to know. LKA says, I'm tired of you. What are you tired of? What am I doing? If you're tired of me, then get off the video. If you're tired of me, get off the video. I don't understand. If you're tired of me, there's plenty of YouTube channels out there. There's plenty of places you can go. If you're tired of me, I mean, I don't understand. If you're tired of me. Mr. Worcester says, to be honest, I don't know what black fatigue is. Okay, let me educate you on what black fatigue is and what people are saying. Black fatigue is what white people have coined. White people have this is really, they've actually stolen this term. You know, this is not the first thing they've stolen, but white people have stolen this term black fatigue, and it's supposed to say that, you know, white people are tired of dealing with the issues of black people. They're tired of the criminality. They're tired of them acting a fool, the violence, the crime, the hip hop. They're tired of, you know, whatever comes with black people. They'd say that's what they're articulating as black fatigue. In reality, black fatigue is about black people facing oppression in America and dealing with the fatigue of that. But white people have stolen the black fatigue thing and saying, "Oh, we're dealing with black fatigue," and it's more just, you know, white guilt and white, you know, victimization that they've opposed upon themselves. Nothing new, you know. Miska Whisker says, "Only thing I'm tired of is you, toxic of you, toxic personality." Well, I got a toxic personality. Oh, then yeah, I'm tired of it. Oh wow. So educate me on why you're tired of it. Oh, you were talking to LXA. Okay. Well, educate me on it. Educate me on it, Mister Whisker. What are you tired of? Tell me what you're tired of in terms of black people. Educate me. Maybe you could bring me up to speed on black fatigue. Maybe I'll agree with you on some points. What are you tired of black people? What are the issues of black people that you're tired of? I would love to hear them. I mean, this is here. This is a show for people to be objective. I'm open to the idea. I'm open to the concept of you being tired of whatever whatever your gripe is with black people. I would love to hear it. If you want to know my issue, because I'm dealing with white fatigue. If anybody in here is dealing with black fatigue, I'm dealing with white fatigue. You know, I've been dealing with white fatigue my whole life. If you want to be honest with you, I've been dealing with white fatigue my whole life. You know, I've been dealing with white fatigue. You know, I'm tired of, you know, walking into the store and being followed. I'm tired of walking through a nice community and being watched. I'm tired of riding in a car and being racially profiled. So I'm dealing with my own fatigue. I'm dealing with white fatigue, and it's nonstop with me. At least when you're white, and let's say hypothetically you subscribe to black fatigue. At least if you're white, you could live in a community away from black people. You know, you could live in an affluent community where you majority won't see a black person. You'll probably see one or two, but you can live in a community where you don't see black people. When it comes to white fatigue, there's no escaping white fatigue. You're gonna have to encounter a white person as a black person. You only make up 13% of the population. There's plenty of white people to encounter. So you know, as a black person, there's no escaping white fatigue. You know, but for a white person, you could escape black fatigue if it is a concept or an idea that does exist, right? And I'm not saying it does, but if it is a concept that does exist, you could escape it. Black people can't escape white fatigue. We live in a country that is predominantly white. I can't escape white fatigue. I can't escape white fatigue if I wanted to. I can't live in a community where I'm not gonna, you know, see at least one white person. I'm gonna experience white fatigue in America. As a white person, you can get away from black fatigue if it really exists. But I'm here to be objective here, and I'm here to give you my viewpoint. Um, he says, I don't know, but I want to hear your end. And I'm just here giving my idea and my concepts. You tell me. Dylan says, I think I'm just tired of people not communicating with each other. That's an honest gripe. You know, I do think that, you know, we all should do a better job at communicating with one another. There's nothing wrong with having the dialogue, whether you're black, whether you're white, no matter what color you are, ethnicity with each other. We should be communicating. We should have some type of lines of communication, and we should be expressing ourselves, whether it is a negative or whether it is a positive. We should all be communicating. I think communicating is a good thing. Mr. Wisser says, I'm tired of not being able to wear braids because it's such a sensitive topic that only thing I can think of. I don't really find being tired of any race. Mystical Whiskers, you could wear braids. I don't know what black person told you that you can't wear braids. Anybody can wear braids. Black people do not own braids. Is braids culturally tied to black people and to Africa? Absolutely. But black people, like, we don't have no copyright on braids. Anybody can wear braids. Anybody can put braids in their hair. And if that's what you choose to do with your hair, that's what you choose to do with your hair. Now, in my opinion, I don't think white people should wear braids. This is why. White people shouldn't wear braids is because black people have different textures of hair. We have 4C hair. Our hair can withstand being put in braids for a long period of white people, they have thinner hair and it's a different texture. So if they have that tightness and that that tightness on their hair and that tugging and that just that real because braids are very tight and braids are very, like, I have braids. That's not really for white hair, and it may cause your hair to fall out. You may deal with hair thinning. So that's why I would say white people shouldn't wear braids. But if you wanted to wear braids, it's a free country. You could wear braids. You could, you could style your hair as a cock if that's what you choose to do with your hair. This is a free country. Put braids in your hair. Get a weave. I don't know, man. There's nobody will ever tell you. Hold on. Nobody will ever tell you that you can't get braids. Well, if people are telling you that you can't get braids, don't even listen to them, bro. Anybody can get braids. Anybody can wear braids. You know. Tatted Up says the Nordic did it. That's a falsity. That's another rumor that people have put out there. No, the Nordics did not have braids. Not the braids that black people wear. No, the Nordics, the Vikings, they had a different style of braids. The type of braids that black people wear in their hair, Nordics and Vikings did not have in their hair. That's an absolute fact. You can look this up. Nordics, Vikings did not braid their hair the same way African people braided their hair. It was a totally different braid. So when people say this, it's not entirely true. Look into the Nordics and to the Vikings on how they braided their hair. They did not braid their hair like African people braided their hair. So, people have been saying that for a long time, but that's not entirely true. That's not true whatsoever. It was a different style of braid, and it was particularly for their hair. There's a different style of braid that black people put in their hair. It's not what the Nordics do. It's not what the Vikings do. Mr. Wilson says, I just wanted to wear them and I got judged for it. I wear them because of my medical condition. It makes it easier to maintain. Yeah, man. Like, I don't have an issue as a black man. As a black man, I don't have an issue with anybody white wearing braids. If you want to wear braids, it's your hair. It's your hair. If a black girl wears a blonde weave, do you think you should tell her, "Oh, you can't wear that. You have no right." Should you judge a black woman for wearing a blonde weave? Should you judge a black man for dyeing his hair blonde? I mean, to me, it's like it's your hair at the end of the day. If you want to put it in any particular style, I don't think you should be judged for it. I think the people that judged you for that was wrong. I don't think they should judge you for that. Me personally, I don't have an issue with anybody white wearing braids. I think that if you want to wear your hair like that, that's your prerogative. I think you have a right to that. You could wear your hair any way, the way you feel like it. And I'm going to be honest. I think that this whole discussion of black fatigue is all inspired from the Carmelo Anthony case. A lot of white people are pointing to that case and they're looking, hey, look, black people gave 500 they gave $500,000 for Carmelo Anthony killing a white boy. And then they say, "Oh, so we're gonna give $500,000 to the white girl in the park calling a child a N word." White people, is it possible? Is it possible that both were wrong? Is it possible? Is it possible that both situations were wrong? Does one, two wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs don't make a right. Calling a child an N word in the park isn't right. Taking a life isn't right. Both situations are wrong. Is it possible that both situations are wrong? Two wrongs don't make a right. But a lot of people are attaching themselves to that situation and they're making something out of the situation. We got 10 people in the building. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Yeah, but a lot of people are, trying to pull this reverse racism card. Like, at the end of the day, both situations were wrong. Both situations, somebody lost their life. In another situation, a young child was called an N-word. I mean, to me, both situations were wrong. Mr. Whisker says, that every braid belongs to black people. No, no, no. I disagree. I think that anybody could wear braids. Tatted Up says, a bunch of people judged Dennis Rodman when he was growing up. Well, Dennis Rodman was on some, he was switching. He was, he was wearing wedding dresses. He was very androgynous. People were judging him based not necessarily off of the hair, his color of his hair. I think that was like the least of the things people were judging him for. People were judging him for his androgynous style of dress. People were judging him. They thought it was possibly gay or bisexual. They were more so judging him for that. They weren't necessarily judging him for the color of his hair. Can y'all hit the like button? We got 12 votes, actually 13 votes. We got 10 people in the building. Can you hit that like button for me, please? Hit that like button. You're helping me by hitting the like button. Twisted says certain cultural issues are creating black fatigue. This does not mean all black people aren't good. I feel a lot of what we hear about black fatigue is dealing with double standards by the media. In my opinion, I agree with what you're saying in theory, but why are we holding the few that let's say the few that are bad apples, let's say the few that are bad, why are we acting like they are the majority, or why are we holding the few bad apples and we're chastising or judging the few bad apples for the majority? Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that for black people? And I agree with what you're saying, and I understand what you're trying to say. But why are we judging the few bad apples for the majority? And I agree, because I agree with that concept too. Every white person, I haven't met, every white person that I've met has not been a bad person to me. Every white person that I've met has not been a terrible person or a racist or whatever, whatever, whatever. And I agree with that concept. But why are we holding the few bad apples for the majority? Why are we taking the few bad apples and saying, oh, it's indicative of all of them? Because that's what I see online. I see people pointing at the few bad apples. They'll take a video of a black woman yelling at some white person and going off and acting ghetto or ratchet or whatever you may say. And they're saying this is indicative of all people that are in this race. I don't think that's true. When I see a video of a Karen, of a white woman, and she's acting up. Let's say there's a video of a white Karen in a Target, and she's acting belligerent, and she's tearing up the Target, and there's police. They have to apprehend her. I don't think that's indicative of every white woman in America. But you have people that are online, they'll take a clip, they'll take a video, and they'll say, see, this is how black people act. This is their culture. This is indicative of all of them. But we don't see that for every culture. I don't think that's fair. Because if we were to do that to white people, that wouldn't be fair. If I took a clip of a Karen acting crazy, acting wild, acting belligerent, and I said, this is indicative of all white women, that wouldn't be fair. If I took a clip of drunk white boys in a bar and they had a bar fight, and I said, this is indicative of all white men, I don't think that would be fair. But online, I see people taking clips of black people, and it's in a particular setting. People are acting wild, belligerent, ratchet, or whatever you may say, and they say this is indicative of the culture. I disagree with that. I take issue with that. Steven says, watching from Mexico, are we going to promote CRT? Hell no. How do we live one love? It's a daily fight. I don't know what you're talking about. We're talking about white fatigue and black fatigue here. Steven says, but if we stop back and respect each other culture, we may see each other in a different light. I agree. Listen, I have a lot of respect for different people's cultures. And I respect people's differences. I take issue more so that people are taking the few bad apples and making them indicative of all people. You said you're in Mexico. Would it be fair just because we see a few Mexican people and they're illegal immigrants? Would it be fair to say they're all illegals? I would say no. That wouldn't be fair. There's plenty of Mexican people in America that have went through the proper channels to become legal citizens, and they're not breaking any law. I think that would be unfair for us to hold the few bad apples and say that it's indicative of all people. I think that that's not fair. But we see that respectfully. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. We see that in the white community. The white community, they'll take the few bad apples in a particular community and they'll say it's indicative of all of them, and they'll make it this widespread argument. Oh, this is the culture, this is all they know. And I see those arguments online all the time, and I just wanted to have that discussion. Salute to Steven. He says you skipped my comment. I don't know what you said. I got a lot of people speaking at once, so I don't know what you said. Uh Twister says we only represent one person ourselves. Identity politics have placed everyone in the box. I agree. Steven says you're right, brother. Can't judge a book by its cover. I agree. Listen, we are responsible for each other, but the reality is people will constantly take the few instances, and these are people that are really just they're consumed by race, consumed by prejudice. There will continually be people that will take the few bad apples and make it indicative of all people of that particular race. They'll look at any community that you can name of. They'll take the few bad apples and they'll make it indicative of all of the people in that particular race. Salute to Sinclair. I see you in the building. What's up, Sinclair? Good to see you, Sinclair. Salute. Yeah, and the reason I wanted to talk about black fatigue, and this is about white people suffering from black fatigue. Again, if you don't know what black fatigue is, white people are saying that they're tired of dealing with black people, the criminality, the violence, the crime, the arrogance, the nonsense, the ratchetness. And in my opinion, this is just my opinion. I don't think black fatigue really exists. And black fatigue, and let's say if black fatigue did exist, right? I think that black fatigue is a byproduct of white fatigue. Black fatigue is a byproduct of white fatigue. If we're gonna be honest and we're gonna be real, there was a point in time in this country and in this history's nation where white people owned black people. The nature, the way we acted, the way we were treated was all byproducts of white fatigue. How we were trained, how we were beaten, how we were treated during slavery. And people don't want to, the people don't want to act like, oh, that was so long ago and yada, yada, yada. But we see, if anybody knows anything about history, if anybody knows anything about science, we see that these things have long-standing effects on groups of people. People have done studies of long-standing effects that these things had on people. So I would say, if anybody is white dealing with black fatigue, it is a byproduct of white fatigue and the fatigue that black people suffered, in America. throughout the years, whether it be oppression, whether it be Jim Crow, whether it be slavery, whether it be Reconstruction, whether it be any point in time, civil rights era, white fatigue. So that's just my opinion on that. FBA says the black man is God. Um, Ryan, is that your name? Rayon? He says, man, I'm between black and white, but I respect all of you because the black man more respect in manliness, and I respect you too. I'm from Morocco. Salute, salute. Tatis says, I grew up in the hood and I'm white. Okay, salute. The game says I'm white and I don't experience racism. Well, listen, racism does exist, and racism will always exist in America. America was built on racism, respectfully. And racism will always exist because we live in America, and it's a privatized banking system. Privatized banking system. This is something that I learned a long time ago. Racism will always exist, and it's not necessarily because of the people. The people can change. The faces can change. The faces that have built white supremacy can change. It doesn't have to be a white face that is in control of white supremacy. But when you learn about privatized banking, these are the things that fund racism. And racism is not, people have to get off this thing that racism is somebody white calling you the N word. That's very minuscule. That's very small and minute in the widespread system of what white supremacy is and what racism is. White supremacy, racism affects every sector of life. It affects your ability to have a home, your ability to live in a particular neighborhood, the job that you have, the opportunities that you have. Racism is way more widespread, and this is funded. Racism is funded by the privatized banking system. Racism. We live in a world where we have a privatized banking system, and a privatized banking system is able to fund all of these different concepts of racism that is built to oppress a particular color of people or a particular people in general. These things are set up and they're funded, right? So there'll always be racism or forms of racism in America because it was built off that, and we live in a system of privatized banking. Look this up. And again, these are my ideas, these are my concepts. But if you disagree, I'm always open. I'm always open to an objective argument. I'm willing to listen to anybody's opinion on this. Tatted Up says, imagine growing up in the hood saying that word with my boys. LOL. Are you talking about the N word? Well, listen, I believe the N word should be over with. I don't think anybody should say the N word. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think if you're black, you're white, you're Hispanic, no matter what color you are, in my opinion, I don't think you should be using the N word. If you're black, why are you using the N word? And the people, your ancestors, they suffered through so much oppression by way of that word. If you're white, you know the history of that word, and the harm that it caused. If you're a person, let's say you're a person that had nothing to do with slavery or that institution, I'm sure you know the history of it. So why would anybody be using that word? I don't think anybody should use that word, whether you're black, white, or whatever it is. Ryan says, brother, when I traveled to America, I swear that I faced great difficulty, even in speaking. There was a lot of racism. Well, I just told you, racism is alive and well in America. It will never leave America. America was built by way of racism. You got to remember, when this country was built and they were creating the rough draft for the Declaration of Independence, this country were declaring its independence from the influence of the king and England. In the rough draft of that Declaration of Independence, it condemned slavery. It condemned slavery, but they decided to omit that because they did not want to offend the people in the South that had slave plantations and that were making money off of slavery. So this country has always struggled with racism. It will always struggle with race because it's deep in the fabric of this nation. Not only that, this country was never created for black people. This country was not created for blacks. This country was not created for indigenous. This country was not created for foreigners. This country was created for the white man, respectfully. And I'm not here to get into this whole spill, kicking in the white man's back. We could do that, maybe at a later date. But I'm just speaking the facts. This country was created for white men to come here, freak off, practice whatever occultic religion that they believe in, and by and large, get away from the influence of Great Britain. That's what this country was built on. That's what this country was made for. It was not made. It was not made to see slaves become free men and become entrepreneurs and be financially and economically free. It was not created for foreigners to come here and to have the same dream. It was not created for indigenous to thrive and to have success in America. It was not created for that. It was specifically created for white men to freak off, practice whatever religion that they believe in, and get away from the influence of the king. That's what this country was built on. So this country will always suffer from racism. It will always suffer from that. Ryan says, "But why?" I just explained it to you. I just explained it to you. It's in the fabric of this country. Respectfully, it's in the fabric of this country. When you got to remember, America is really an experiment. We don't have a rich culture like China or thousands of years of culture and influence. We don't have the great culture of the long-standing culture of England, or all these different countries with morals and culture and ethics, and we don't have that in America. We're a new country. We've only been in existence for what, 200 plus years. I think we're coming up on the what is it, the 250th year? Let me see. I forgot. I think aren't we coming up on the 250th year of America? I think we're coming up on the 250th year of America. Let me just double check that. But yeah, we're a new country. We don't have this. We don't have thousands of years of culture and ethics and morals. We're a bastardized child of England. Let me just look this up. How old is America? I think we're coming up on the 250th year, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 250. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I think this year will mark its 250th year. Yeah, so let me yeah, 200, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Let me hold on. Let me pin what Sinclair said. Sinclair says like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, make sure y'all guys like, comment, subscribe. We got 14 people in the building. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Exactly. Yeah, we don't have this, we don't have like thousands of years of history, and ethics and morals and code of conduct like in England or China. We don't have that. This country was built for people to freak off, practice what religion they want, get away from the influence of Great Britain. This is what this country was built on, you know? So, you have to remember that. Oh yeah, I did say Vent. Yeah, Vent. I'm gonna make Vent a mod. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, salute to Vent, because he been pulling up. Check your thing right now, Vent. I did promise you that. Yeah, you're right. Check your thing right now, Vent. Taddy says trans a hard pass. What y'all talking about trans now? Somebody says protect the black trans community. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Sinclair says those in the lurker lounge join the chat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Join the chat. I want people to join the chat and join the discussion. Somebody said something about the black trans community. I don't think the trans community or the LGBT community needs any more protecting. I think they've been protected. Obama gave them the right to marry. Y'all all heard about all the programs that were being used to incentivize the LGBTQ. Everybody thought that black people and the people that were complaining about this thing, they thought we were crazy. There were plenty of black people using their platforms. They were talking about how Obama and Biden were using the presidency to empower the LGBT community. They thought we were bugging. They thought that we didn't, because black people been talking about it. We've been talking about how the LGBTQ was put on a pedestal. They were receiving funds. They were receiving money. They were receiving grants. All type of money were being allocated to the LGBT community. They thought we were bugging. It took for Elon Musk and Trump to get in there and to expose all of it. Because everybody thought we were bugging. Everybody thought, oh, the black people, y'all just complaining. The LGBTQ community, they ain't doing all of that. All Obama and Biden did was give them the right to the vote and gave them a couple barbecues and told them to come out. They thought we were bugging. It took for Elon Musk and Trump to expose it. Because I've been saying it for years that Obama, the Bidens, they've been incentivizing the LGBTQ. They've been giving them money. They've been giving them grants. They've been giving all types of money allocated to that community. All types of money allocated. And for what? For what? What are we giving people money to stick penises up their behinds for? What are we doing? What are we giving them money for? What are we giving people money so they can stick, genitalias up people's rectums? I don't get it. Respectfully, if that's what you like to do, that's what you like to do. But I don't understand. I don't understand it. I don't understand why we giving people that money for. Respectfully, why are we giving them that money? I don't understand. I never got it. I never understood it. If we're gonna be honest about the LGBTQ community, the majority of that community, if you want to be honest, is made up of white people, respectfully. And if we're looking at white people, if all minority groups are looking at white people, respectfully, I'm not saying all minority groups subscribe to this, but if all minority groups are looking at white people and they're speaking of white privilege, they're speaking of white people having it better in this country. They're speaking of white people having it, I'm just saying this is what minority groups have said. I'm just echoing it. I'm not going to say if I agree or disagree. But if we're looking at that and we're saying that the majority of the LGBTQ is made up of white people, white men that are gay, white women that are gay, bisexual and queer. And if we're saying that, and that's the majority of that group, why do they need to be funded? Why do they need to be? They've already got an upper leg in this country. I'm just saying, hypothetically, I'm just saying that's just how I look at it. But that's just my opinion. You don't have to subscribe to that, but that's just my opinion. Um, yeah, but that's just my opinion. Jelly says the LGBTQ community needs more diversity representation. I think they try to put black women at the forefront of their. Did anybody see that statue in Times Square? They put a statue of a LGBTQ black woman in the middle of Times Square. Anybody see that? They try to put their token Negroes in the front. Put a little bit of color in the LGBTQ, but it's majority white people. Um, Criminals need to be more diverse. There's plenty of diverse criminals. There's plenty of diverse criminals. There's plenty of criminals of different colors and different ethnicities. Crime has no color. Crime has no color. I'm just being honest. Crime has no color. Crime has no color, bro. Wherever poverty, no opportunity exists, crime is going to be there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what color it is. Doesn't matter what community. If it's poverty and no opportunity in that place, crime will exist there. Jelly says this makes me want to defund the police. I'm not with the defunding of the police. I think that police should be funded. I think that there is a such thing of overfunding the police. I don't think we should defund the police, and I don't think we should overfund. I think we should budget the police because Do I want the police to be defunded where they don't have the equipment and utilities that they need to fight crime? No. But do I want them to be overly funded where they running around with militarized vehicles and militarized? You're policing a small community. You don't need military grade weaponry and military grade vehicles to police a small community. You're not fighting drug cartels and SWAT teams. Like you're not fighting SEAL Team 6. You don't need a militarized vehicle to fight crime. Okay, like relax. You're policing a small community. Relax. So there is a such thing as overfunding the police. So you can overfund the police, and I don't necessarily agree. I think we should budget the police. The police should have the weaponry and equipment that they need to fight crime. But we don't need to militarize the police because they're not fighting cartels and stuff like that. Somebody says you should run for president. I would love to, but I'm a black man in America, and they probably won't let me run. I don't lick the bootstraps of Nancy Pelosi, and they'll probably never give me that opportunity. Somebody says I never seen the alphabet community getting messed with. They are more wealthy than the rest, but we always accept until it got weird. Yeah, the LGBTQ, they're very strong. They're one of the strongest communities on the planet because, and I'm gonna keep it a real because the majority of LGBTQ is made up of white people, and if you're made up of white people, respectfully, you have some power, you have some influence. I'm just keeping it a buck. If you're a majority made up of white people, you're gonna have some influence. You're gonna have some power within this country. You don't see other communities and groups that are minority groups. You don't see them have that type of power and influence in the world when it comes to LGBTQ. I'm just keeping it a buck. They're made up of majority of white people. So that's why they have a lot of power and influence in America. Jelly says, yeah, it's like we need the first black president. About time. Yeah, Obama was not the first black president. He was actually a puppet. Vince says this LGB strand dates back to ancient Rome. Yeah, there was a lot of homosexuality in ancient Rome. There was a lot. I don't want to speak about what else they had out there. There was a lot of young boys that got violated in ancient Rome as well. That happened out there as well. There's a lot of nasty stuff in Rome if you look at the history of it. Steven says, think for yourself and stay a threat. Yeah. Vince says it was actually Rome to goose. Man, I don't know. But yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of homosexuality in Rome. Everybody knows that though. It's not a secret. It was a lot going. That was a lot. That was going on in ancient Rome and Greece. That was definitely going on back then. People don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about the art, the great warriors, and all of this stuff, and all of the things that all the history, but they don't want to talk about a lot of homosexuality. And it was rampant. It was rampant, and it was tolerated. It was forget about tolerated. It was accepted. Forget about the difference between being tolerated and being accepted. It was accepted. Forget about being tolerated because tolerated means it's there and it's okay, but it's underlining we're not really cool with it. In ancient Rome, it wasn't tolerated. It was accepted. It was like, yo, this is what we do. This is how we get down. So there's a difference between being tolerated and accepted. It was accepted. It wasn't tolerated. It was accepted. Yeah, it was a part of life. Yeah. You wake up in the morning, you drink your coffee. You get you get your Roman coffee. You get a blowjob from a guy. Hey man, just another Monday. It's just another Monday. That's what it was like in ancient Rome. Respectfully. You know. But yeah, I'm here to talk about I know we kind of got off topic, but I'm here to talk about white people dealing with black fatigue. And the reason why I wanted to speak about this, because people have been on this, because I talked about this maybe on Saturday. I believe it was Saturday. I did a live about this on Saturday. And it was a couple of people in the live talking about the concept of white people having black fatigue. But when I posted the video, a lot of people got into the comment section, and they were very much voicing their thoughts on being white and having black fatigue. So I thought it was of critical importance that we do a show and we do a part two of white people dealing with black fatigue, because there are white people that feel like this. There are white people that feel. Maybe I should read some of the comments. Maybe I should read some of the comments. Let me see if I could find. Yeah, let me read some of the comments from that video, because people do feel like this. The people. I haven't seen a country that has. Hold on, let me just read some of the comments on this video. Hold on, let me just turn this way. Somebody said this is from Casual Casualty. He says, we're tired of the crime, the classlessness, the double standards, not to mention our kids aren't safe around community. Look at Carmelo's defenders. Now, there are a lot of now it's 16 likes on that comment, right? There are a lot of people that are, really on this Carmelo Anthony. I've chosen not to really discuss it really at length, because, I feel like this should really get played out in court. I think people, and listen, I'm gonna say black people are guilty of it as well, because I'm gonna hold both sides accountable. People love to play lawyer, judge, executioner all online. Can we wait till we see all of the facts? There may be facts that we don't even know of until they come out in court. Can we wait? People they really jump the gun. I want to hear all the facts in this case. I want to hear. Did Carmelo Anthony? Did he know this kid? Did he have a relationship with this kid? Is there past experiences with this kid? Did the young white kid and his brother, were they known as bullies? Were they around bullying people? Did they have a history of this? There's a lot of things in this case that I want to wait. Me personally, I want to wait for it to come out in court. I don't want to just play lawyer, judge, executioner, prosecutor all online. Can we wait until we hear all of the facts about this case? Do I think that it's right that Carmelo Anthony got 500 or $500,000? No. Maybe, hypothetically, if I'm looking at it in surface level, if people are feeling like, oh, he got $500,000 for taking this young kid's life. If you're looking at it on that surface level, then the answer would be no. I don't think that's right. But if we're looking at it on another surface level, and we're saying maybe they are looking at this in the case of maybe Carmelo Anthony needs money for a lawyer. I believe in due process. I think he deserves to explain himself in court. And if we're looking at it on that surface level, I'm not opposed to people funding that concept if he doesn't have money for a lawyer and he needs to be represented. So I don't have a problem with that aspect. But if you're looking at it on a very minute surface level, Carmelo Anthony, he got $500,000 for taking the kid's life. If you're looking at it that minute and that small, then no, I would say no. I don't think that it's right that he received that money. Now, if he takes that money and he starts driving Ferraris and Bentleys and doing all of this and wearing chains and stuff like that, then I'm going to be like, okay, yeah, that was definitely a misuse of that money and that should not have been allocated. But people are taking that case and they're using that case and they're saying, well, there's this other case of this white woman. Let me know if you've heard about this case. There's a white woman that was in the park and she called a young child in the park an N-word. I don't think it's right that that woman should have got $500,000 for that. And two wrongs don't make a right. I don't think it's right that Carmelo Anthony got $500,000 for essentially, or on the surface level, taking that young man's life, and I don't think that it's right that that white woman should get $500,000 for calling a child the N word. Two wrongs don't make a right. If you want to look at it on a widespread level, if her life is really in danger, which I don't believe it is, I think that's cap because that's what she said on the story. But if you essentially believe that her life is in danger, then okay, maybe she needs the money. So maybe a lot of y'all are kind of looking at it on a surface level on both sides because the Carmelo Anthony case, maybe he needs money for a lawyer, maybe he needs money for representation. So maybe he does need that money. Maybe this white woman that called the young black child the N-word, maybe she really needs to remove herself from the environment and maybe her life is in danger, which I don't believe it is, but I think she's a I'm gonna be honest with you with that video. I think that video is a scam. I think that they set that video up. I think the person in that video and that woman, I believe that they're in cahoots. I believe it's another brick scam. You know, remember the brick lady? I believe it's another brick lady scam. I believe that that white woman and the person filming her possibly in cahoots. Possibly in cahoots. The person that filmed her, he's a sketchy individual himself. I believe that these two may have been in cahoots to make that video. They possibly have been in, and a lot of white racists have taken that video and they've been galvanized by that video and they supported her and they funded her and they haven't really thought about could this possibly be a scam? Could this possibly be a woman that is looking and seeking attention? She devised this whole scheme and put up a GoFundMe to scam people. Possibly. People aren't looking at it like that. But let me look at some of your comments. Um, Sinclair says brick lady classic scam. Yeah. You know it was that was a classic scam. She did get caught though. She did get caught. Vince says, does Emmett Till have a moment? Because I haven't heard no whites apologize. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. And another thing about that Emmett Till case, the woman, I forgot the name of that woman. She passed away maybe a couple years ago. What's that woman's name? Emmett Till woman who lied. Yeah, what's that woman's name? Carol Bryan Donham. Carol Bryan Donham. She lied. She actually lied. She admitted that she lied. They were cleaning up a courtroom, a old courtroom, and they found a warrant for her arrest. They decided not to prosecute her. Now remember, we see old people that were during World War II. They were on the other side. They wore the SS uniforms. We see the world still prosecuting people from World War II. These are old men in their 90s. They're willing in these Nazis, these old men they wore the SS. They're willing them in the courtroom, still prosecuting them. But they allowed this white woman who lied on Emmett Till, who lied, absolutely lied for years, and admitted to lying eventually. They allowed this woman to not get arrested. They allowed her to live out her life, and very interesting. But we see the world. We're still willing in people from World War II, willing in old men, old man, Rockenslager from Germany that wore the SS uniform, still willing him in the courtroom. We're gonna hold you accountable for what you did. But they didn't hold this woman accountable. Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Yeah, they never held her accountable for her crime. She lied on Emmett Till. She lied on him. She lied, and she lied for years. She allowed the lie to continue. Never decided to right her wrongs. Vince says, at least give Emmett a statue. Exactly, man. I agree. You know, and another thing that I don't respect about the whole black fatigue thing, that white people are trying to jump on this bandwagon. All of the white fatigue that black people had to suffer under in this country, whether it be slavery, whether it be Reconstruction, whether it be Jim Crow, whether it be civil rights, all of the white fatigue in this country, black people had to deal with. But you hear racist white people talking about black fatigue. Oh, we're tired. We're tired of the criminality. We're tired of this. What are you tired of? Ain't none of y'all getting bit in your ass by German shepherds, getting hit over the head with billy clubs, being domestically terrorized within your own country. What are you tired of? You tired of two niggas fighting in a bar? Loud black women at the airport? That's what you're tired of? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Sinclair says, Vent, there are 3 memorials and 1 educational center in Chicago for Mr. Till. Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I would think that there are at least 1 statue, but I didn't know he had I didn't know he had an educational center. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Jelly says, it looks like a bunch of white people. There is not enough types of candy in the candy kingdom. What are you talking about? The candy kingdom is crazy. Vince says, us blacks are tired of mediocre whites getting promoted over everyone else. You're speaking about affirmative action, right? Well, listen, you know, um, I don't know. I mean, listen, I think that, whoever is qualified to do the job should do the job. If you're talking about, DEI, the whole DEI thing, I don't necessarily subscribe to, because if you look at the statistics, black people were not really, they were not really benefiting from DEI. There were a lot of things put in DEI that were not DEI. They were putting white women as DEI, LGBTQ as DEI, immigrants as DEI. Are these people really DEI, or did you guys who are the real people that should be, benefiting from DEI? And even if you are DEI, let's say if you are a DEI, I don't think that you should get the job over a qualified person, no matter what color they are. I don't care if you're an LGBTQ trans person and you're less qualified than a black person or a Chinese person. I don't think you should get the job. If that person is more qualified than you, then they should get the job. If we have the both if we both have the same qualifications, then maybe we can challenge for the job. But if I'm more qualified than you, no matter what my race is, I think I should get the job because I'm more qualified. Um, Twister says 1 in 3 people are from overseas or their ancestors are jelly bean. What is wrong with a white majority? Would you ask for diversity in China or Saudi Arabia? Um, well, listen, you know, I don't think that diversity is a wrong thing. But I don't think that diversity is a wrong thing. But when we see that, a lot of opportunities are not being given out because people are inhabiting these areas and they're not, allowing other people of other diversities to come in. That's a problem. We've seen that before. A lot of people of a particular race, they may inhabit, a job area, and they're not allowing because they've facilitated so many areas in that particular job force, and they have so much power in that job force, they're not allowing anybody of any other culture or ethnicity to come in. That's a problem. That is a problem. And we do need more diversity in a lot of areas. But when it comes to qualifications, let me say this. I don't think diversity should supersede qualifications. I think qualifications should supersede diversity. So, I want people that are qualified to do the job. I don't want diversity to supersede qualifications, because at the end of the day, I don't care if you're black, white, Chinese, purple, red, blue. If you can get the job done, you can get the job done. That's what I want. I want you to get the job done. So, yeah, so I don't think diversity should supersede qualifications. Yeah, just my opinion. Um, Curtis, what are you talking about, bro? You're in here. You've been in here for 5 seconds. What are you talking about, bro? I've been on here for 64 minutes so far. What are you talking about? I've been talking about what I've been talking about. What I've been talking about. Yeah, this is a show, bro. This is I know, get your thumb out your ass and read the title. This is a show. We're doing a show, bro. I don't. I know you're used to mindlessly scrolling through video after video after video after video, and you're not really used to having a topic. But this is a show about a topic. That's what some people do. They just mindlessly 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 scroll. They don't know what they're looking for. But yeah, this is about white people dealing with black fatigue. Vince says China has a population crisis, and Saudi Arabia don't even let sunshine hit their women's backs. Yeah, man. Listen, man. China is trying to take over the world, but people not really talking about it. China is trying to take over the world, bro. China's trying to take over the world. If you really look at it, they're going to all the places that are rich in minerals, rich in resources, and they're setting up shops. They've set up shops in Africa. They've set up shops in certain places in Europe. They're setting up shops. The only place they haven't really set up shops like that, but they're doing business with Russia. But they haven't really they don't have a really big influence in Russia. But that's coming. That's coming. Yeah, China like they trying to take over the world, but people not really talking about it, bro. People not really talking about it. Somebody says, "Let China cook." No, please don't let China cook. Please, no, don't let China cook, bro. China is one of the most racist places on the planet, bro. Do not let China cook, bro. China is a racist place, bro. Very racist. Very racist. They're very much in tune with white supremacy. And when I speak of white supremacy, that's what I speak of. White supremacy doesn't always have to have a white face. White supremacy is a system that is set in place so that it can impose upon itself. Some systems are laid out like that. You don't always have to have a white person at the whelm, holding the webs and facilitating and being the puppeteer. They've created a system where they could fall back from the system. Let the system oppose upon this say. Let the system oppose upon itself. Let's put a Chinese person in front of this system. Let them be the face. Let's put a black person in front of the system. Let them be the face. Because white supremacy, it's a system where people could fall back. You could fall back. That white man don't have to be the puppeteer. I could fall back. Let the system work for itself. We'll put a black person as the face. We'll put a Chinese person as the face. Vince says if we let China cook, lots of pets are gonna go missing. Sinclair says BRICS, Brazil, Russia, Iran, and China are all connected. Yeah, yeah, that's a fact. They are all connected. I agree. They definitely are all connected. They are. You know, they definitely are all connected. China. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that Donald Trump has made a very big error in getting into a tariff war with China. He's making a lot of mistakes. And listen, guys. I look at the statistics. I know a lot of you are Trump supporters. You love Trump. You cherish Trump. The man is effing up. He's effing up big time. He's effing up really big. Do I think that China is overly hitting us with tariffs and have they taken advantage of America? Absolutely. Did at some point we need to, push back? Absolutely. Do I think the way Trump is doing it right now is a good thing? No, because I don't think we're in a position to really, negotiate with China. I really don't think we're in a position right now to negotiate with them. It's going to be bad for business, and a lot of people, Trump, I'm not going to lie, it's not, there's going to be a lot of people unhappy by the end of Trump's presidency. If he doesn't find a way, like, let me put some things in perspective. The student loan thing, right? 5 million people are going to be forced to pay on their loans if they defaulted. That's going to be a burden on the American people. Now, but that's just the student class, right? Now you have to add on the tariffs. All of these different countries were in you add that on to the market. Add on to us being in the in terms of our financial strain in this country, we're still dealing with we're still dealing with a lot of debt in America. The Fed, a lot of things, a lot of working intertwining pieces. We're not in good standing. We're not in good standing, bro. We're not in good standing. And I'm not gonna lie, bro. If Trump doesn't find a way to really turn this thing around, I don't know, man. It doesn't look good, man. It doesn't look good. I don't think I'm listen, do I think that we should have voted for Kamala Harris? Absolutely not. But I'm not gonna lie, man. If you would have told me these were the things he was going to be doing, and I think a lot of people feel like this. If a lot of people would have known some of the things that he was going to do, I don't think people would have voted for Donald Trump, man. And I'm not gonna lie. The fact that he forgave all those PPP loans for the millionaires and the billionaire class, that was a bad look too. That was a bad look. That was a bad look. That was a bad look, man. He's kind of clear that he's taking care of his people. He's taking care of that 1%, bro. Donald Trump. He's from the Reagan. He's from the Reagan. He comes from the Reaganomics class. He's trying to bring Reaganomics back. He thinks that the whole trickle down thing is a thing. I don't think we live in a trickle down economic economy anymore. People at this point are economical slaves. There's no trickle down. Let's be honest, Reaganomics didn't work even back then. Reaganomics didn't work because there was plenty of people broke and plenty of people that were, not, withstanding and were not excelling in America back then. But yeah, but I think he's still believing in this trickle down economics. It doesn't exist anymore, If you think billionaires in America have your best interests in heart, or they want you to have the American dream or excel and succeed in this country, I think America has fell into a trap. If you believe that, all the wealthy and the rich care about is getting more money. That's all they care about. They don't care about that. And I could tell that even they were kind of blindsided though, because I know Jeff Bezos. I know he was blindsided about all these tariffs because I know that directly affects his business with Amazon. So I'm sure he was probably the one person that was blindsided by that. Sinclair says, we're in debt. We have outsourced our industry. We need to rebuild our country infrastructure and leave our children without a mortgaged future. I agree. I agree in theory. In theory, I agree with you. I do believe that we need a better infrastructure. I do agree with everything you're saying. I think the way Trump is going about it is wrong. The way he's going about it is very wrong. I think the way he's going about it. But in theory, I agree with what you're saying. We do need a better infrastructure. And we do need to, we can't depend on these other countries forever. We have to kind of, be more independent as a country. I agree. But I think the way Trump is doing it, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. You can catch more flies. You can catch more, flies with honey than or whatever that expression is. Vince says billionaires, affirmative action, China, they all just need humans' bodies to do the labor. I disagree. I disagree with that, Vint, because we're headed towards AI. We're headed towards robotics. Those billionaires, they're trying to cut costs, bro. They're trying to cut costs. Those billionaires, as soon you already see it in the Amazon. You ever seen the Amazon workplace where they got the big robots? They're trying to get rid of people. They don't want. Listen, no billionaire wants to deal with unions, lawsuits, liability. Ain't no billionaire trying to deal with that. The faster they can get robots in there, they ain't got to worry about no unions. They ain't worry about no robots unionizing and all that. They trying to get them robots in there, and we've already got the technology, so that's where we're headed. So we're fastly approaching. If you have, depending, I'm going to be honest. This is my prediction, right? This is my prediction. If you don't have a job in robotics or coding, right? Robotics or coding, robotics and coding, because you're always going to need coding to program and stuff like that. So people that are in programming and coding and stuff like that, if you don't have a job in those two fields, and I don't care what you do, I don't care if you're a doctor, I don't care if you're a physicist, astronaut. I don't give a damn what you do. I don't care what you do in the hospital. I don't care if you're a cop. I don't care if you're a plumber. I don't care what you do. If you don't have a job in those two fields, you will be obsolete. That is an absolute fact. There's robots already in the hospitals. There's robots already in every industry that you can think of. Every industry. If you don't have a job in robotics and coding, your job is going to be obsolete. And that's going to be within, I'm going to call it, I think within the next 20 to 30 years, your job is going to be obsolete. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're a brain surgeon. Your job is going to be obsolete. If you don't have a job in robotics and coding, your job will be obsolete. You're not gonna have a job. So these billionaires, they're trying to get rid of people. They ain't trying to do that. Sinclair says they will always need plumbers. I disagree. I disagree. There's gonna be a point in time. You got to remember, AI. We still don't know the capacity of AI. Even the creator of AI said we have to be careful with this technology because this technology is too advanced and it may impose itself on us at some point. So I think that the technology is here. The future is here. The future is already here. The future of AI and robotics is here. It's already here. All it needs to be is massively produced and put in every job sector. It's already here. It's already here. It's already on the planet. All it needs to be is massively produced, put into the workplace, and be the test runs and all of that, and that's going to come eventually. Somebody says Terminator is real. Joseph says the AI is not going to want to do shitty jobs. I think that I think that the shitty jobs are what AI is going to take first. We've already see them implementing robotics and AI into the job force already. We've already seen it. They're slowly they're slowly phasing out cashiers. Remember, you was going to a McDonald's, you talk to a cashier. Now you walk into a fast food restaurant, they don't want to talk to you. They tell you right when you walk into the fast food. We're so used to going up to the counter. I'll take a number one, please. We're so used to that. You walk up to the counter now. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Did you go to the kiosk? Yes, ma'am. We have a kiosk right here. You can make your order right here. They don't even want to talk to you. They don't want to talk to you. Did you go to the kiosk? Like they're slowly gonna phase that out. At some point, you're gonna go to the kiosk. Then after you go to the kiosk, you're gonna walk up to the counter and get your order. You're not even gonna deal with the cashier no more. because the companies and corporations, they don't want to deal with your health care. They don't want to deal with no being liable for anything. Let's bring the customers in here, take your ass to the kiosk, make your order, go up to the counter. We're gonna have a robot or AI create your food and get up out of here. So that's where we're headed. Remember, the technology is already here. We don't have to debate if the technology and the jobs. We don't have to debate the technology taking people's jobs. The technology is already here. You could debate when it's coming. You can debate, will it come here in 15 years, 20 years, 30 years? You could debate that, but the technology is already here. I mean, there's no sense of debating if it's going to happen. It's already here. It's all about when will it be implemented. And I'd say it'll be implemented within the next 20, 30 years, maybe faster. Yeah, man. Um, uh, Zelly says an AI cannot replace waiters very easily. I disagree. I disagree because the reason that AI can replace waiters because an AI doesn't make mistakes, or AI does make mistakes, but there's probably there's a higher probability that an AI would make less mistakes because AI, the functionality of an AI is more advanced, right? Um, and you can remember they can always do constant updates on AI. They can have AI in that restaurant where you'll just walk in and they'll know the AI will know automatically what you want. Oh, you come here 2 days. You come here 2 days a week, and you order a steak on Tuesday, and you order a salad on Saturday, and it's Saturday, so I know you want the salad. So boom, oh, I didn't even make an order. I didn't even order. How'd you know I wanted the salad? How did AI know I wanted the salad? Ma'am, you always come here every Saturday. AI is predictive that you will come here Saturday and make this, you will want this salad and a fresh water. It'll be trained to read your mind before you even get to the damn thing. The technology is here, y'all. We don't debate. This is my thing. Don't debate if it's gonna happen. Debate when it's gonna happen. That's my thing. Don't debate me on if it's gonna happen. Debate me when it's gonna happen, because it's gonna happen. Don't debate me if it's gonna happen. It's already here. The technology is already here. The technology's here. You think? Hold on. Do you think? Do you think it's by chance that Trump wants to build computer chips in America? Do you think that's by chance? Do you think that it's by chance that Apple is invested in bringing more companies, $500 billion into America? Do you think that's by chance? Do you think that it's by chance that Elon Musk, a person who is very knowledgeable on computer chips and very knowledgeable on neurotransmissions and neuroscience, he's spearheading these things? Do you think it's by chance that he's in cahoots with Trump? Do you think all these things are just by chance? Or do you think these things have a grand design? You can get into your conspiracy theory if you want. I'm not here to get into conspiracy theory. I'm just here to make your mind work. I want you to think about these things. Um, Flower says, yes, we can make that stuff here. Yeah, listen, I'm just saying, listen, do you think it's by chance that these things are all being brought to America at this point? Do you think it's all by chance? Vince says, hear me out. When things get created for free, do they not become free? When things get created for free, do they not become free? Not necessarily. Everything has a price. We live in America. This is the land of capitalism, so everything has a price. Even freedom has a price. People think that freedom is free. Freedom is not free. That's the thing. We live in a capitalistic society. Freedom is not free. For you to wake up in the morning, right? Hear me out. For you to wake up in the morning itch the crack of your ass, sit at the table, eat a bowl of cereal. To do that every morning, it costs for you to do that. And I'm not saying, oh, it costs money for you to buy the cereal. You're thinking on a very small level. I'm saying for you to have the freedom to do that, to live in a country where you can scratch the crack of your ass, sit at a table and eat cereal. I'm saying that it costs for you to do that. It costs for somebody, right, to go to the army, right? To get suited and booted for war, to be trained, to get a rifle in their hand and fight for your right to do that. It costs for people to do that. It costs for them to send somebody to a foreign country to fight for your right to have to do that. Everything has a price, even freedom. Freedom has a price. Freedom has a price. We live in the land of capitalism. Everything has a price. Freedom has a price. People have to be sent to fight foreign wars for you to live your lifestyle. Everything has a price. Online entrepreneurs, we will adapt. Listen, man, if you know who's gonna watch the videos, if let me give you a hypothetical, right? Because which in essence, what you're saying, I see what you're saying. Who's gonna want to watch a content creator? Because people, we all live in our societies. We all go to work and do what we have to do. Who's gonna have time to watch a video, no matter what the video is? Who's gonna have time to watch a video when you're striving to live, you're striving to work a job, you've lost your job? Let's say AI has incorporated all sectors of jobs, taken all people's jobs. Who's gonna have time to watch a video? You think people have time to watch a video if they're struggling? They can't even afford food, shelter. Who's gonna have time to watch a video? You saying content creators will survive? Who's gonna watch a video if they're surviving? You think people in America are gonna have time to watch your videos if they're trying to make ends meet? Remember, these are people that have lost their jobs to AI. They're probably gonna be out there robbing the people who are content creators. You're in the park making a little video. Hey guys, I'm live streaming in the park. The person that just lost their AI, they're gonna be running down on you, stealing your phone. Let me steal this nigga's phone. He think it's sweet out here. You don't find. I'm just saying, you got to put on your thinking cap, bro. You got to put your thinking cap on. He think it's sweet out here. He out here, live streaming. I just lost my job to AI. You over here live streaming. You think it's sweet out here? I'm just saying. Just gotta put your thinking cap on. How are we gonna afford internet? That's a fact. That's a fact. Always says, I wish we had an AI president right now. Listen. What do you guys give Donald Trump? What is your presidential grade for Donald Trump right now? What's your presidential grade for Donald Trump? Give me a B, C, D, or F rating. What is your presidential rating for Donald Trump right now? He's been in office for 100 days, over 100 days. What would be your presidential grade? I'd give him, right now, I'll be fair. I'm going to give him a D minus. And remember, I supported him. Doge, I supported him. I supported him during Doge. I supported him when he went to the border and he did a national he called for a national emergency at the border. I supported him. I supported him on a lot of different things. I supported him on Doge, the national security at the border. I supported him. So, but I'm gonna give him a D minus. Let me read some of this. Vent says C because I'm still alive. Twisted says B. Joseph says a C minus. Jelly Bean says 9 out of 10. Really. Sinclair says B minus. Jelly Bean says A. Okay. It's kind of mixed. I think an A is like, come on, let's not come on, A. You think he hasn't done anything bad or anything wrong? Even like the Zelensky thing when they pounce when they tag team on Zelensky in the Oval Office, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I loved every second of it. I thought it was brilliant. He got a lot of flack for that, but I thought what Trump did in the when they chewed out Zelensky, I thought it was brilliant. I loved every second of it. I supported him in that. So I supported Trump on a lot of things, but if I'm going to say how he's running the country currently, I'm going to give him a D minus. A lot of room up for improvement right now. And listen, I understand he has inherited a lot of problems. He's inherited, the Russia Ukraine thing. He's inherited all of the debt and inflation that Joe Biden and all the the immigration and all of that stuff. He's inherited a lot of problems. But it is his first 100 days. But I'm giving him a D minus. A lot of room for improvement. Sinclair says he stopped the money to Ukraine and got their resources to pay us back. Yeah, you know what, you know what, Sinclair, you're right. I'm gonna give him a D instead of a D minus. I'm gonna give him a D. You're right. He did get that Ukraine's deal done. I think that was good business. Yeah, that was good business. That was good business. I'm gonna change my grade to D. That was a good deal. That was a good deal. You know. I don't know how the deal is going to help us long term. Not speaking financially, because I believe that Russia, they want those minerals. So does that mean that the United States and Russia is going to have friction over those minerals now? I don't know the future of this deal and where it lands us with Russia, but as of right now, yeah, it's a profitable deal for us. I agree. Flower says, and he closed our open borders, which is why you said you supported him. Yeah, I supported him in that. I supported him on calling for a national emergency at the border. I thought that was smart. I thought that was very smart of him. I think right now, if you ask me, I think that's probably the best thing he's done so far. That's probably that's probably in his greatest hits right now for his his presidency. Calling for I mean, it had to be done. It had to be done, and he did the right thing by that. And I support him in that. He did the right thing with that. But there's a lot of room for improvement. Demanded full payments for NATO. Yeah, but he knew he wasn't getting that. He just kind of he just yelling into the void. You could demand full payments for NATO, but is he going to? Did he get it? No. Yeah, he may have demanded it. And then of course he wants Greenland and he wants a bit of Canada and all these different countries. You could ask for these things, but it doesn't mean you're gonna get them. Did they? Sinclair says Europe coughed it up. He is doing everything you wanted. No, no, he's not doing everything I wanted. Well, remember, I didn't vote for Donald Trump, so he's not doing anything I wanted, to be honest with you. There wasn't anything particularly that I wanted because I didn't support him and I didn't support Kamala. So he didn't necessarily do anything that I wanted. I support him in closing the border, though. I definitely support him in that. I thought that was smart. And I know Kamala Harris wasn't going to do that. Kamala Harris wasn't going to close the border. She wasn't going to call for national security at the border. So, I mean, I supported him in that, though. Yeah, I did. I did support. Well, I didn't. I didn't necessarily support Doge. I support the exposure of political corruption. I don't necessarily support Doge. We don't know the long term effects of Doge. Like, I mean, who are the, like, let's really talk about Doge for a few, right? Who are these people that are looking into these governmental programs and looking into all of these different things, these sensitive things in terms of our government? Who are these people? In my opinion, these people should be vetted. These people, I mean, who are these random, hackers and random people that, remember, Elon Musk is a immigrant. He is not he's not an American. He is not a blue blood American like me or you. Who are these hackers? Who are these programmers? Who are these people that were hired to look into these sensitive information about our government? Listen, if you want to expose Nancy Pelosi, if you want to expose Elizabeth Warren, all the political corruption, if you want to expose Stacey Abrams, if you want to expose her, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm right there. I got my popcorn. I'm loving the expose it. I'm loving it. But at the end of the day, who are these people looking into this stuff? I mean, I love the exposure, but there's some sensitive documents and sensitive things that these people are accessing. We don't know who these people are. Who are these people? What are they doing with the information? Are they creating more political corruption by way of the information that they are receiving? We don't know. But listen, it's entertaining while it lasts. But when we see all of the exposure, when we see, okay, this money's being allocated here, there's been some obvious money laundering here. There's obviously being money being allocated to places that should not be. When we get over that and we get over the exposure, we have to ask ourselves, where is this information going? Okay, the American people know. We know about this stuff. We've been educated on it. But what's happening next? Where's the money being allocated next? Are these people properly vetted? These are some very articulate and highly smart individuals that are into our government, into our privacy and things of that nature. We don't know who these people are. We don't know if these people are double agents. Are these people double agents? Are these people working for China? Are these people working for a particular country trying to work on the downfall of America? Well, y'all haven't thought about that. Y'all so focused on Elon Musk and the exposure and the listen. Donald Trump wants to give you things to cheer about. That's why he gave y'all. He gave y'all all of those things. Yeah, look, Stacey Abrams. They gave this bitch $8 million. Oh, Elizabeth Warren. I'm sure they got the political. You see all this money laundering they sent over here. Too crazy. He giving y'all stuff like, yo, this is, we're gonna look into the funding and all this stuff. He's giving y'all stuff, but you're not looking at the banana in the tailpipe. Who are these people accessing sensitive things in terms of our government? Are these people double agents? Are these people working against us? What are they doing with this information? Are they selling the information to different agencies, governments? Nobody's asking this question. Nobody's asking. Nobody's asking these questions, and nobody cares. And nobody's gonna. I mean, it's interesting. It's very interesting. Um, Sinclair says maybe you should watch the committee on Dode. They asked that very question. Did they? Did they? I have to take a gander at that. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. But at the end of the day, there's a committee on Doge, like you said. Okay, there's a committee on Doge. We don't know if these people are double agents. We've had double agents in our government before. We've had people that have sold secrets before. There's people that have worked on Congress that were double agents. There's people that have worked in our military that are double agents. Is it far fetched to believe that there are people in Doge that are possible double agents? I don't think it's far fetched to believe that. You know. Oh, Sinclair said Maxine Waters asked that. I'm sure she did. I'm sure she did. I'm sure she did ask that. But I think it's a valid question, and I'm not saying that it's. I'm not saying that it's absolutely true that these things have happened, but it's something to think about. I think that you know Trump is a little too gullible, in my opinion, in some aspects. Like Pete Hegseth, come on, bro. The whole group chat thing, like, come on, bro. that it's a little too gullible. Like, how does that happen? Like, that was a little, that was a bad look. 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 That could never happen in Russia. If that happened in Russia and there was a reporter that let some military secrets out, that reporter would have came up missing. And I'm not calling for that, but that's what would have happened. A reporter would have came up missing. Same thing in China. That reporter would have came up missing. And I'm not calling for that, but I mean that's what would have been. That's what would have happened in another country. Always says Elon helped him win and let Elon whatever he wants. And that's another thing that I don't like. I don't necessarily like billionaires running the country. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like billionaires. Billionaires only have one objective, and that's to get more richer, bro. They don't care about the little guy. They don't care about the blue collar. They don't care about that. They want to make you believe they care, but they don't. Sinclair says a suspicious plane crash for sure. Yeah, yeah, man. It's very interesting. Elon's election always says correction, do whatever he wants. Yeah, yeah, possibly. Do, do y'all think? Because people have thrown around this theory. Do you think that this is a shadow presidency? Not just by Elon. Candace Owens, and I know I know some of y'all are not fans of Candace Owens, but she spoke about this possibly being a shadow presidency. She said there's some small hats behind Donald Trump that is puppeteering him. Do you guys think this may be this may be a shadow Trump presidency? Is Trump being puppeteered by other people, other forces, whether they be Elon, whether they be other people? Somebody says no, not a shadow presidency. What makes you so sure? What makes you so sure? There's always been a shadow presidency. I mean, if we're just going to be honest, there's people that the president even have to answer to. Whether you even think minute and then you say it's the American people, or whether you think that it's other people, no matter, there's always been a shadow government to some capacity. Every presidency, however, has advisors. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you want to look at it that minute, you could say that. You could say that. You could say that. I'm not totally against that. Vince says, "Hell yeah! Look at his stance on Israel." You got a point, and that's not Netanyahu's pet. Oh, you're talking about that Yahoo Netanyahu, huh? The Yahoo Netanyahu. I think I'm gonna get a. I'm a sip of Yahoo and talk about that Yahoo Netanyahu. Yeah, man. I don't know. Not in Yahoo. Sinclair says, not in Yahoo. Vet says, net in Yahoo. Yeah, man. Oh, man. Twister says, USA has always supported Israel, something we should separate from at minimum distance ourselves from. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think that United States is in bed with Israel. Yeah, they're in bed. They're in cahoots with Israel. I think that Trump. I don't think you're gonna get a president that's going to turn away from Israel. I don't think you're gonna get that. I don't. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. I agree though, but I don't think you're ever going to see a president say no. We're not going to rock with Israel. We're going to go away from them. You're not going to see it. Um, Vet says you seen how Yahoo addressed Obama's Congress like Obama was nobody. I didn't see that. Nah, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Do y'all think? Do y'all think Michelle is about to divorce Obama or Barack? Let me ask y'all that because people have been saying that Michelle is doing a soft launch on the divorce. They have since like said that no we're not getting divorced and nothing like that. But she talked about how she had struggles with Barack and Barack had hit a rough patch in his marriage and stuff like that. And then there was talks of him and Jennifer Aniston. Are they doing a soft launch on their divorce? I don't know, but Vet says, trust me, you saw it, you forgot it. I don't remember that. I don't remember that. Chris says they probably haven't been together for years, bro. Yeah, I could see that. I could see them not want. I could see them not being together for years. I could see that. I could see them. I could see them sleeping in different beds as well. I could see them sleeping in entirely different houses. I could definitely see that. Sinclair says they'll stay married because they don't want to split the finances. That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah, I agree with that. Because you already know Donald Trump ain't giving Michelle Obama no security clearance or no security no security convoy if she divorces Obama. That's a dub. He ain't giving her no type of security. Yeah, splitting finances. Yeah, yeah. Sinclair says that anniversary picture in the basement told me loveless arrangement. Let me see. Obama. What is it? Obama. They had a picture in Obama anniversary picture. Let me look this up. Anniversary. Do you know what today? It's our anniversary. Let me look at this picture. I haven't seen it. They got a picture in the basement. Oh, is this the picture? Oh yeah, I did see this picture. Yeah, yeah. I did see this picture. You're right. Yeah, this picture does look like an arrangement. When people are in love, they want to be next to one another, like literally, like attached at the hip, like he's on one side of the table and she's on the other side of the table, and they're like half-heartedly holding each other's hands, looking at the table with this Kool-Aid grin. It looks very contrived, forced. It don't like two people in love. It like two people that are forcing it. If they was really in love, they would have been hip to hip, side to side, hugging on one another. And Obama would be kissing his wife on the cheek or kissing her hand or really like showing some affection. It looks very arranged, contrived. I agree. I did see this though. I'm bugging. I did see this. Chris says, not a fan of what Obama did in Syria. Yeah, he was dropping bombs left and right, man. See, that's the thing. That's what I don't respect about the Democrats. They go so hard on Trump, and that's why a lot of people lean towards Trump. They go so hard on Trump, but they don't want to talk about what nobody else did. They don't want to talk about the bombings in Syria. They don't want to talk about Obama deporting 3 million people. They don't want to talk about these things. They act like these things never happened, but they're so quick to talk about Trump. I just seen Jasmine Crockett talk. Yeah, did y'all see that video? Trump or trans, where she did like some type of game. Oh, who deported illegal immigrants? Was it the Trump or the trans? Let me know. Like she did some stupid game Maybe I should play that video. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Did y'all see that video though? Let me see if I can find it. Trump or trans? Let me see. Did y'all see that video? Jasmine Crockett, Trump or trans? Let me see if I can find it. Trump or trans? Okay, I think I got it.
I want to play a game.
Yeah, let me put it wide. Let me put it on my screen for y'all. Let me see something. Yeah, Trump or trans? That's what she was. Let's play this video for y'all. Hold on. Have y'all seen this?
It's called Trump or Trans. You ready? Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me whether or not it is Trump or trans people that are responsible. You understand? Yeah. Okay, very good. The first one, gutted medical research. Trump. Kidnapping Americans and sending them to foreign countries, a.k.a. deporting them. Trump. Driving us into a recession. Trump. Increasing the...
So wait a minute. Joe Biden didn't assist in the recession? Joe Biden didn't flood the country with immigrants and criminals and sexual deviants? It's like what I said, like the Democrats, they be so quick to talk about everything Trump did, but they don't want to talk about what the Democrats did, what Obama did, what Biden did. And it's like, it looks so stupid. It's just like, y'all, they look so out of, and people like Jasmine Crockett, they're going to be the reason why the Democrats never win an election. Even now, like even me saying Trump is doing, I don't think Trump is doing a good job. And I think that Trump has done, like if I gave him a grade, I would say a D minus. I think that if we were to have presidential elections today and Trump was on that bill, and let's say a Gavin Newsom. Let's put a man in there. Let's not put another woman. Let's say Gavin Newsom and Jasmine Crockett ran on the Democratic ticket. Trump would still win. You can, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I believe that if they would allow Trump to run a third term, and they would tell Barack Obama, they told Barack Obama, the Democratic savior, if they were to tell him to run again, I think Trump would win again. The Democrats, they're just really out of touch, and if they don't stop putting people like her at the forefront, and they really get some people that could really, you know, speak to the middle class and speak to the blue collar workers and really get back on their game, they're never going to get elected again because they keep platforming people like her. People like her is not going to get another Democratic elected official in the White House. It's not. People like her, you're never going to get in the White House again with people like this. Sinclair says the fact a strong representation would utilize. Hold on, I'm trying to read Sinclair. The fact a sitting representative would utilize her time, allowing to play dumb questions and answer games when the people want results. I agree. It's an embarrassment. It really is. Vince says that's like a slogan now when crimes get committed. Someone comments, "Not a trans." Who asks? Yeah, it's pathetic, bro. It's really pathetic, and the Democrats, they're never going to get elected. They're never going to get elected if they continue to go down the path of trans and all these issues that people just don't care about. People don't care about like that community like that. Like people like that's not like people are trying to make ends meet. People are trying to have a piece of the American dream. People are trying to take care of what they need to take care of, trying to get their finances in order. People ain't waking up thinking about the trans community like that. That's not the top priority, bro. Like that's not the top, and that's the reason why they lost because they've been prioritizing all of these issues that people don't care about, bro. Like people, like everyday people that go to work and paying their taxes, that's not what's on their mind. They're not caring about the trans community. They're not caring about that. These are not things on their issue. They're not caring about illegal immigrants being put up in high-rise hotels and getting stipends. They're not. These are not things that they care about. These are not things that they are in support of. And the Democrats keep acting like these things are important. No, they are not important. They don't speak to the common man. They don't speak to the common woman. These are things that people are not gonna really feel good about, and they continue to fall on that side. Yeah, man. Um, always says all of them are crooked if you ask me, but I appreciate Trump straightening out the gender situation. Great show. Good night, nephew. Okay, salute to always Jackson. Oh, wait a minute. That's my aunt. Oh, yo, the whole time I didn't think that was. I thought that was a regular person. Hey, salute, auntie. I didn't realize that was you the whole time. It took me just now to read the whole because you got a long YouTube username. I'm just looking at the always A Jackson. Then I'm realizing, wait a minute. Salute to my auntie, man. Salute to her. I just realized that was her the whole time. Yeah, but it's crazy though. It's crazy. Yeah, man. But yeah, it's crazy, man. This it's crazy. It's crazy. It is crazy. Yeah, they'll never get elected. They'll never be. They'll never. They'll never. They'll. I don't think the Democrats will ever have a point in time where they'll be back in the White House with this type of jargon. Nobody cares about the trans community. Like respectfully, no disrespect to them. No disrespect to the trans community. Um, I don't support it, but it's like these are not on people's minds. Like people don't care about these things. like, people don't care about these things like that, and like they keep prioritizing these things, and it's just like dog. Like Vince says, Crockett know damn well she never cared about one trans man. Exactly, that's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. She don't care about no trans rights, man. She does not care about no trans rights. Yeah, she don't care about no trans rights, man. But I'm gonna be honest with you, like she's just a puppet. She's just a puppet, man. She's just another Democratic puppet. She's being, controlled by, people that are, Democratic elites, people that are, like the Maxine Waters, the Nancy Pelosi. She's being, used by them. She just a figurehead. She's just an extension of those people. She's really just being put out there as a celebratory lamb almost, if you will. She doesn't really. I don't think a lot of the stuff that she does is her own thoughts. I believe that she's told to go out there and be dramatic and talk with this sister girl attitude. I think that that's all performative. I think that she's being told to do this. She's being told to do this. Absolutely. Yeah, man. Listen, they definitely playing hot potato, playing both sides against the middle. It just is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about white people dealing with fatigue of being, that. Does anyone has anything to say about that in that manner? Let me see. Let me see where we are. Um, are you white dealing with black fatigue? 66% said no. This out of 41 votes. 66% say no, and 34% says yes. Okay, so majority people are saying no. It's interesting. Well, listen, people kept talking to me about this. They kept speaking to me. Oh yeah, I'm white and I'm dealing with black fatigue. So I thought it was of critical importance to talk about this. Yeah, man, but it is what it is. But listen, guys, it's kind of late. I need to take my ass to bed. I got a long day tomorrow. Salute to Vent. Salute to Sinclair. Salute to everybody that's in the chat. Salute to everybody.
Of everything.
Hold on. I got this sister. I got this sister girl on my computer talking loud. Hold on. Hold on. Nah. Salute to all the mods. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to everybody that voted. Salute to everybody that hit the like button. Salute to everybody. You guys have a good week. You guys have a good Thursday. Stay productive. And I'll see you guys. God willing, we'll do a show tomorrow. God willing, we'll do a live tomorrow, and I'll let you guys know, and we'll promote it and we'll put it out. And yeah, you guys have a good Thursday, man. We out. Toodles.